morning, dear students. Today we are going to have our next lecture on comparative typology, and our topic is about classification of comparative typology according to Dr. Buranov. So, comparative typology is a branch of general linguistics. It compares two or more language systems. They are categorized in a deductive way, and it makes general linguistic rules and laws. And according to Dr. Buranov, we divide the comparative typology into genetic, areal, comparative, and structural typology types. So genetic typology is a branch of comparative typology which studies the similarities and diversities of originally related languages. Genetic typology developed from the comparative historical linguistics that dominated during the 19th century in Europe. Its origin was stipulated by the discovery of Sanskrit, the ancient classical language of India. So, areal typology is one of the independent branches of linguistic typology, which compares language systems and studies the degree of expansion and proximity of language properties, which are geographically conditioned. Next one is comparative typology is an independent branch of comparative typology. It deals with the comparison of languages irrespectively of their genetic or structural identity. Comparative typology operates with a limited number of languages, and the minimum number of these languages may be as little as 2. So, structural typology. It is a major branch of comparative typology and aims to identify structural language types. Structural typology has 4 branches: language universals, typological classification, epsilon language, and typological theory. So, language universals are bound to the unification of language facts, identifying common or similar features specific to systems of all or separate language groups. The notion of language universals appeared in 1961 at the Congress of Linguistics in New York, where Joseph Greenberg Jenkins and Osgood proposed a memorandum on language or linguistic universals. They defined it as follows. A linguistic universal is a certain feature specific to all languages of the world or the language per se. So there are many general universals concerning all languages in the world. They are, first one is, wherever human exists, language exists. There are no primitive languages. All languages are equally complex and equally capable of expressing any idea in the world. The vocabulary of any language can be expanded to include new words for new concepts. All languages change through time. The relationship between the sounds and the meaning of spoken languages and between the gestures of signs and meanings of sign languages are for the most part arbitrary. All human languages utilize a finite set of discrete sounds or gestures that are combined to form meaningful elements or words, which themselves form an infinite set of possible sentences. According to language hierarchy, there are phonetic, morphological, syntactic, and lexical universals. Phonetic features. All languages have vowels and consonants. Morphological features. In most languages, words are structured into morphemes. Morphemes function as full and auxiliary elements. Lexical features. In all languages, vocabulary is a system of semantic fields. In all languages, there is polysemy, synonymy, or antonymy. Syntactic features. In all languages, there is a distribution of a subject, verb, object. Examples of full universals. If a language has discrete morphemes, there are either prefixation or suffixation or both of them. If a language is exclusively suffixational, it is a language with postfixes. If a language is exclusively prefixational, it is a language with prefixes. So, typological classification is opposed to genealogical classification and is bound to classifying languages according to their taxonomic or systematic features and defining structural types of languages as souls of self. Morphological or typological classification deals with the classification of languages according to their structural features or types in language instead of the genealogical origin. An example for typological classification is a classification of languages based on the order of the verb, subject, and object in sentence into several types. It may be subject, verb, object, or subject, object, verb, or verb, subject, object, and so on. So, ethelon language. Ethelon language is an object language for comparative typology, and it is also a means or system of tools to compare languages. It is usually identified deductively. The notion of ethelon language was introduced by Boris Uspensky. Some scholars prefer the term meta-language, which is to a certain extent synonymous to ethelon language. It is the second major function of the ethelon language to serve an instrument of comparison. This instrument may be represented as follows. Any natural language, usually one's native tongue, linguistic category, for example, gender, voice, person, sex, etc., concept, and